happening, everyone knew what was going on. It was obvious. We just needed evidence and someone to admit it.
Well, there was a conspiracy theory though behind it.
There's always conspiracy.
Yeah.
Listen, anything that's going to happen, there's going to be a conspiracy, right? Anything from JFK to the Trade Center.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, like, here's the thing. This is the first time where, like, I feel like everything has ever been confirmed that what we were all thinking. What we all knew. It's like, yo, like, we know you're messing with things behind the scenes.
But who's they though?
Like, I would say,
because people are saying the
Illuminati.
Illuminati. The Illuminati. It could be the Illuminati.
I would say there's people. I think what a lot of people assume is like the black suit people, like people in the black suits. When the people in the black suits show up, like that's when like they really tell you how things really work for them.
Yeah,
I think that would be the they. But of course, now we know it's certain parties and very powerful individuals using different things to push the thumbs on the scale. Like, again, it's no longer you can't deny it didn't happen. We literally have the evidence.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, no matter what you say about Elon Musk, I like him because of SpaceX and Tesla. I'm a huge space fan. Like, my cup literally has SpaceX on it. Right. Like,
you're a Star Wars guy.
And I'm a Star Wars. I'm a space nerd.
Shoutouts to a Mandalorian.
Shoutouts. I'm wearing the Mandalorian shit right now.
Yes.
But in all seriousness, like, he put his money where his mouth was. He's like, yo, I'm a free speech absolutist. Here we go. And he just let it just. And I just think it's funny how it's so little talked about in the quote unquote the greater sphere, if you will.
Well, it was kind of popping in social media. I saw a lot of.
It was popping on social media. No one could shut up about it.
On Instagram, no one could shut up about it. And I try to stay away from the comments section on these posts, but there's some wackos with these outrageous, outlandish comments about their conspiracy theory on Elon Musk. Like, oh, he's a diabolical dude. He just wants to take over the world. Yada yada yada. One chip at a time kind of thing. I'm kind of in the middle. I'm not a huge Elon, but I don't hate on him.
Listen, I will never say he's like the perfect man. He's no. He's a dude just like all of us.
Yeah.
But the things that he has done, I know he tries to do to the best of his ability for the benefit of humanity. I mean, look, SpaceX was founded to get us on Mars because it's like as soon as we get on Mars, human extinction, the percentage of that goes to literally zero because we're interplanetary.
Right.
Like that's his whole thing. You can believe whatever you want about this or that.
Right.
But overall, like I at least hope and pray that he does it for the betterment. But so far,
I just feel like
he has proven that with his actions
and
words.
I just feel like no man should have that much power. I don't care how much money you have, how much authority you may have, and how much influence you might have in society. Like no single man should have that type of power.
But I think,
and the whole chip thing.
That whole thing. Oh yeah,
like in a, I guess like in a micro level, if you're doing it to help paraplegic, like cool, you're gonna insert the chip and he's gonna somehow miraculously walk again, then that's cool. But if you're chipping people for the sake of chipping people and download their conscience on a computer so they can Tony Stark it. I think
that's actually a common.
You could see a hologram.
I mean, that would be amazing.
Of like my dead self, like Tony Stark in Endgame, like I love you 3000, shut off and kill. It's like I don't know.
It's a grand conspiracy. The government just wants the chips in our brains to kill us all.
Bro,
that's what
I
it
don't
is.
know. And people who put stock on that, bro, are to me, and I say this with all due respect, like you guys are goofballs. And you're just playing yourselves.
Listen, you're going to get to a certain
point.
Then, stop. No.
Congratulations. You played yourself.
Those people, they playing themselves, bro.
I'm not looking at you. I'm going to just stare off in the distance.
Bro. All right, well, give me your quick take on the chip.
On the chip
the pros and cons of the chip, real quick.
Oh, no, I think it's a terrible idea. No, I think...
There's no pros?
I think there can't be what you were saying.
Right.
I think there is some validity in that line of thought.
Yeah.
But only for that. Unfortunately, he's taking the direction of, hey, I want people to be able to like tweet out with their minds. I want people to be able to like share their thoughts on Instagram, which is a literal thought.
Right.
That's scary because here's the thing, like especially in the culture we live now, if you think the wrong thing or if you like get lost in your emotions and you tweet or say the wrong thing, you're done.
Yeah, because subconsciously you don't have control of your subconscious. It's like you don't have control of your dreams. When you go to sleep, subconsciously you have thoughts, and that's where your dreams are birthed. Mm-hmm. I feel like.
I mean, well, think about it, even those random thoughts that you have, or it's you're driving down the road and you just want to just like pop someone off. Of course, that pops into your brain. You're like, whoa, like where'd that even come from?
Yeah.
Like, and he said, like that's not who I am, but the thought occurred. So, are you really those thoughts? Are you really made up of all of those like those evil or like terrible thoughts that you have? That's just a one-off type of thing. We're like, oh, that's.
But I think the chip that I think he's talking about does come with some type of parameters. It's like, yes, you can access your bank account with your thought process or whatever the heck the chip's going to do, but accessing your digital account or your digital wallet, your digital anything with your brain, a simple thought is kind of crazy to me.
That's also very scary.
Yeah.
That's very, because I was even talking about somebody the other day. It's so easy to spend money nowadays because they give you so many ways. I mean, like you have legit, like your cards on your phone.
Right.
I mean, you can't see my number on my phone, but like you have your card, you have your physical cards. They always make the cards.
I don't even use physical cards anymore. It's crazy. I literally just...
I just walk in with my phone.
And beep, done. Yeah.
That's all I do.
And even like your subscriptions are controlled by your phone. Like, I don't have to call a company and be like, hey, I no longer want to be subscribed to AT&T or Hulu or Netflix.
What a time to be alive to be an introvert.
I know.
You don't have to speak to a single human being.
It's like, oh, you know what? I don't feel like being subscribed to HBO Max anymore. And then you just go on your phone, unsubscribe, and you'll never get billed again until you subscribe again. That's crazy. No, paperless billing. Like, I don't get bills sent to my home anymore. Everything's done.
I haven't had a single piece of mail from my bank
in forever. I'm sure.
Geez.
Decade maybe.
I mean, I think they sent me one letter one time just saying something, but beyond that, I haven't gotten it because I wanted
even my car insurance. I've never got unless I'm getting that renewal letter. Hey, your insurance has renewed. These are your new whatever. But to actually get a monthly bill, I never get them. I get them through my Gmail. I'll get a notification from Gmail. Hey, this is your insurance, yada yada yada, and that's it. Like I don't get any bills in the mail at all.
No, nope, not anymore.
It's all digital. We live in a digital world.
Although you still get like occasionally water bills,
right?
Certain.
And even then, like utility bills, there's an app for
FPL has their own app.
Yeah,
that you can pay through it. Like my car insurance, my paying off my car.
Right.
That's all through an app.
Yeah.
Like you can act, and it's just like blank access, blank paid.
Yeah.
What?
Crazy. But Elon Musk, he's out there.
Again.
Is Elon Musk a necessary evil? I'm just kidding.
I think.
I don't think he's evil, bro. I really don't think he's evil.
What's that scale? I think he's like chaotic good.
He's like a
controlled
chaos.
Is it
maybe controlled chaos? Maybe.
I'm thinking of like the one scale where it's like chaotic good, chaotic evil. Chaotic good.
Right.
What's the name of that?
I don't know.
It's been so long since I thought about it. I think he's like a chaotic like neutral.
Yeah.
Like neither bad nor good. I think he's a chaotic neutral.
Yeah, for sure. Shouts to Elon Musk, man. He's making the world
for your rockets. Thank you.
He's making the world a different, not a better place, but he's definitely making it a different place to live in.
He's putting his money where billionaires won't put it.
Right. Yeah. So shouts to him.
He spent $44.
But yeah, he's been trending. The weather has been trending.
Let's go, Florida.
United States of America got hit by a boulder of a freaking cold front that like froze.
Mother Nature went.
Yeah, it literally froze the Midwest and the northeastern seaboard, and there's been deaths.
There's been actual deaths, yeah.
Reported because of this freeze, and it's crazy. And being that we're in South Florida, for those that don't know and new to the show, we are located in the sunny South Florida. Heaven for those that don't know.
We live where you vacation.
Yes, and
don't hate us.
We have 75 to 80-degree weather in the middle of January. But anyway, but yeah, that's been in the news too. Just this freeze warnings up in the Midwest, out in Chicago, Minnesota, St. Louis, up in the eastern seaboard from the tri-state area up there in New York, Connecticut, New England area, New Hampshire, Vermont. They got it really bad. I still have family in Long Island, New York, and I'm in a group chat family because that's what we do. I'm sure you're in a group chat in your family. You don't have a group chat in your family?
I have a sibling group chat, but
I have a family group chat that's like 17 deep, bro. And they chime in.
That sounds like my worst nightmare. I'm sorry.
Dude, I have it on mute.
I hate.
Love you, auntie, but I have y'all on mute.
I could not listen. I have muted so many of the people put me. I'm like, no.
Yeah, no, I muted. I don't walk out of them, but I definitely muted because I can't just hear the every 20 minutes when I'm at work. Being that I work at the Palm Beach County Clerk office at the courthouse, I can't be having that. So that's why I muted. But they were saying, oh my God, it's going to be, -2 on Thursday. And I'm like, well, we have 50-degree weather. Oh, that's nothing. But it's the truth, man. Like for us though, because we get so used to the 75, 80-degree weather. Mm-hmm. And then when it declines to, I think for Christmas Eve, we were at 43, right?
For Christmas Eve, there's at one point, I think we actually were in the 30s.
In the 30s.
I think we were actually in the 30s.
And the Panhandle, they were in the 20s.
Wait, I'm sorry. Wind chill was down to low 30. Like it was basically freezing.
Yeah. Yeah, because I remember, because for Christmas Eve, we went to Westlake, all the way out west. That new development, the new zip code that Palm Beach has out in Westlake. Jose's in the camera, so shouts to Jose. Someone go to Jose right now.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So,
confirmed.
So shouts to Jose. He is running the camera today, guys. Shouts to Jose. But yeah, it got pretty crazy because we were out let's go on the patio, and we made like hot cocoa with marshmallow, and we thought it'd be a cool thing to like go to his patio. He's facing a lake and he's getting that wind. And we literally sat there for about 20 minutes and we were like, yo, you want to go inside? Because this is kind of crazy. But yeah, it got pretty cold.
We were watching Die Hard. It's a family tradition to watch Die Hard.
And some people argue that that's not a Christmas movie.
Let's not get into that.
I was like, what?
It is absolutely a Christmas movie. It is not Christmas until Hans Gruber falls off the Nakatomi Plaza building.
Yeah.
When you see that shot, it's Christmas.
It's Christmas, bro.
When you see it's Christmas.
I did some Christmas movie watching on Christmas Day because I just chose to be a bum the entire Christmas day. I literally left my car in the garage and it stayed there I didn't step out of the house Christmas Day. Literally was just like, I'm watching movies all morning. All friggin' morning.
Yeah.
So, Elf was one of them. Home Alone 2. Lost in New York.
Because that's a classic.
That's a New York one.
That's classic.
But yeah, just hung out. Did my low key stuff with the fam. Oh, I went to Jose's crib. He had some great food, phenomenal food. Where'd you get the food again? There's a place that I want to try.
Four Rivers Smokehouse.
Oh, Four Rivers.
Four Rivers. I haven't tried Four Rivers Smokehouse till I went to his house.
What is
catered for Christmas?
Bro,
he had collard greens, baked beans,
the one special
ribs, beef brisket. The mac.
No, not the mac. What's the other side dish?
Collard greens?
No.
Baked beans?
It's very sweet. It's like there's like donuts in it.
Oh, you didn't get that.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but that's more of a dessert.
Oh no! Listen, I have it as a side, and I get like triple. I'm like, I want that times 8. Give me that. I want that in my body and in my bloodstream.
I felt so fat after I left his house because, bro, his food was amazing.
Bro, that's a solid. Four Rivers is a solid choice.
Four Rivers is it? Four Rivers Smokehouse.
It is so.
First time.
Smoked turkeys for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Totally worth it.
This man's quickly becoming my favorite human being right now. He's speaking my love language.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, man. That was a good grub. I definitely thoroughly enjoyed it. And he actually gave me the honor to pray for his I felt so honored.
What a real friend.
Dang, Jose, you... You make me feel so good.
Listen, that's
Jose
how you
knows
know
my
you,
love
That's
language.
how you made in the family. They ask you.
Well,
to pray when you
I actually bragged about Jose with you. Remember, I told you the guy that always.
Yeah.
That's him. That's him.
Okay. See, let's all come together. See, people don't realize or know that we hang out
Yeah.
outside of this. Not as much as we want,
Yeah.
but we hang out.
Yeah.
And me and Javi were talking. He's like, "Oh yeah, Jose." I always try to imagine. Do you do this thing where you like imagine what people look like when they talk about somebody? Right? I not what I imagined.
Yeah.
Gonna be very honest.
Yeah.
They always say, "Is your name Jose?"
Yeah.
Is that your real name?
Yeah, because he definitely doesn't look like Jose. He's white, clear eyes with a ginger beard.
Yep.
Exactly.
And he's Puerto Rican. He's the
threw-
unicorn, bro.
It threw me through a loop.
He's a unicorn, bro.
Threw me through a loop, and I love it. I am absolutely here for it.
Yeah, but yeah, that's pretty much what I did. And I was on my phone for a while because I was getting messages from you and from which is nice. I love to send out messages wishing everybody
First
a
20
Merry
minutes of my
Christmas.
day on Christmas,
Yeah.
I just go through my phone.
Hey, Merry Christmas.
Well,
Love you, bro. Merry Christmas. Love you, bro.
Especially Christmas, I make
Yeah.
it individualistic.
Me too. I don't do
It's
a
like
group
it's not
chat.
just Merry Christmas exclamation point. It is Merry Christmas. I say the person's name
Yeah.
or emojis, but I always change it up.
Yeah.
I don't like being the same consistency.
Yeah, I don't copy and
thing.
paste. I don't copy
No,
and paste.
I'm sorry. You do that, you're cheating.
Yeah, you're
and,
cheating.
You played yourself.
You played yourself. We won't drop that soundbite.
Thank you. I really appreciate
for
that.
you.
I really appreciate
Oh my god! But yeah, anybody has watched Avatar yet? The new Avatar? That's 3
Nope.
hours and 27 minutes.
Nope.
I don't think I'm ready for that, bro.
Nope.
And of course, my nephew, my 8-year-old nephew, is like, Uncle, so when are we watching Avatar? And I'm like,
Never.
do you want to sit down for over 3 hours?
I pick.
And
Listen,
you haven't watched it yet?
No,
And
but
Jody,
listen.
Jo-
I picked. Listen, I saw the
Jody
Spider-Man
will be
movie, I
down.
picked.
Jody likes that. Jody likes that.
Of
Cool.
course.
Yeah, he has a 10-year-old. Is
But
it?
if we're doing an I pick,
Mhm.
it'll be more comfortable.
It would be.
Because you lay back, you have blankets, like you
Yeah.
have food.
I love iPick, bro. Yeah, so we could do that this
That's for
weekend.
me and Caleb saw Spider-Man,
Yeah.
and then Black Panther.
I saw the new Black Panther.
The next second Black.
Do you want
Panther.
to take like 3 minutes on Black Panther real quick or no? What'd you think?
No, let's move on because
All right.
I don't. I'm.
Disappointed.
All right, so
No, it's.
are you ready to pod, bro?
bro?
Okay, for those that are listening and don't recognize that angelic voice,
You are lying to the people right now. You are.
and those
straight
viewing
lying.
on YouTube, you know who this is. I dubbed him my co-resident co-host of the show. This man sitting to my right has started since day one. Literally day one. Episode
Where
one.
we went, let's just practice something. Hits record, becomes a podcast.
And it becomes a podcast. And so I thought it would be best to just do the last podcast of 2022 with the man, the legend, Mr. Tyler Winham. Hey!
You and everyone else can never remember.
Is it Winham?
Wyman.
Or is it Wyman?
Wyman. Like, why, man, why? Like,
Oh,
that's,
okay.
That's literally how to tell people.
Sorry, bro. I lost a bro point right there.
Wow.
I thought it was a fancy last name where you don't pronounce the Y
No,
as a
I mean,
Y.
Listen, that would be kind of funny. That would be
Hey, listen,
great.
I know how to spell it.
You do know how to spell it.
Because I thought the Y was with that fancy Y when you don't pronounce it as a Y.
Yeah, it's not WEIN or I
Yeah.
whatever. It's
Yeah, I thought the Y was fancy. I'm sorry. So
It's okay. No, listen, you
So
still-
the Y,
you
so
still
the
bro.
so the Y is pronounced as the Y.
yes.
Okay,
it is.
great,
So, like,
great.
So like, why, man? Like, why did you do
Why,
that, man?
man?
Like, that's
Why,
how it's just like that.
Tyler's in the building, ladies and gentlemen. He is gracing us and blessing us with his presence and his takes and his knowledge and wisdom. I'm excited.
I have maybe one of those.
One of those.
Which
Okay.
one it is, I'll
All
let
right.
you decide.
It'll be up for debate, guys. But yes, for those that have been listening since day one, you guys are familiar with his voice, and if you guys are tuning in on YouTube, you're familiar with that beard, with that
I trimmed it down though.
with
man.
that side part that's never getting old. I love it.
Melvin, shout out to Melvin.
And a t-shirt, bro. You just gotta love the t-shirt. Did you get that for Christmas?
I bought it was a self Christmas present.
Really?
It's a self-
I'm wearing Christmas gear too. I got this for Christmas for those that are tuning in. I got the
Led Zeppelin.
Def
Oh, sorry, Def Leppard. Sorry,
Def
it looked like
Leppard.
Led Zeppelin.
I was gonna say Led Zeppelin too, but this is Def Leppard. Cool little shirt. Love the
my
color.
dad would be ashamed.
Love the colorway because it's like earth tones with blues. I love
We're
it.
kind of like low key in a weird way matching.
Yeah,
For those
for
who
sure.
are watching.
And I got I'll take them off for those that are looking. The
nice.
Air Max 92s. It's a collab shoe with an artist, and it's escaping me right now, but the little swoosh shine is designed by an artist that they collaborated with on the back. Really cool colors. I love it. So that was a gift as well. My dad got me a Coach cologne for men. I forget the line, but it's from Coach. And he got me a Coach tote bag to go with it.
Oh, shoot.
Yes, I
Way to
do
go, Dad.
like bags. We call them man bags. I know you're a book bag guy, which is cool.
Well, because I normally carry like books and my iPad.
Yeah.
And well, now I carry my notary stuff in it because
So, bro, episode 59 is the last episode. I wish it would have landed on an even number, but hey, 59, last episode of 2022.
Can you do like a 2-episode special? Where you have one episode and then you do like a mini-sode, be like, hey, mini-sode 60.
It's episode 60.
It's a mini-sode. And then we just answer random questions that no one actually asked.
Yeah. So episode
What's
59.
Behind you? Nothing.
Last episode of 2022. Couldn't think of anyone else to do it with but my man Tyler. And we're just going to kind of discuss and touch on a few little things that I shared with you yesterday. Mm-hmm. We kind of talked over the phone. I shared a little bit of my heart as to where I wanted the conversation to go. And I felt like because this was a trying year for a lot of people. It was definitely a happy year for some.
Really? I thought this year was pretty easy, to be honest.
Yeah, right? And if you were only living under a rock, then you probably weren't affected by this thing we call life.
Or you're just dumb.
Yeah.
Or naive or whatever.
Right. So we just want to talk to you guys to just make you feel like you're not alone. I know that I always touch on mental health because I'm a huge advocate on mental health. Mental health is a big deal to me. There's been people that's been DMing me throughout the course of the year saying, hey, thank you for giving people that struggle with that a voice. There was a person that reached out and said, hey, you're the reason why I even entertained the idea to see a therapist. And now that person followed up with me and says, hey, I found a therapist. They don't even live in Florida, bro. They're somewhere out in I'm sorry, I don't know where you're from. I think you're somewhere in the Midwest, maybe Minnesota, St. Louis, Chicago, Illinois area. I don't know. But they were just saying, and I just didn't want to take credit for that. I'm like, praise God. You know, I could only just praise the Lord for that because he's giving me a platform to reach the unreachable. You know what I'm saying? So definitely feels good that someone is actually taking care of themselves mentally. Because we focus so much on the physical, you know what I'm saying? Like we want to go to the gym, especially if you're living in California or by a beach, or in Florida by a beach, and weather is really nice all year round essentially, and you want to stay fit, you want to look fit, you want to have that quote unquote beach bod, but we sometimes deprive the mental. And I think for me, mentally and emotionally and spiritually, this year began in a high and it kind of went in a low mid-year, and I kind of stood there for a couple months until I started really committing myself to my men's group, which Jose is a part of, and I started committing myself to the men's group on a consistent basis. Pedro kind of gave me the reins to co-lead it, and at the end of the day I don't see myself as a leader. I just see a bunch of dudes in a room that are all leaders and capable of leading in their own way. And it helps, man. It definitely helped me come out of some storms when I was going through some stuff relationally, when I was going through some stuff even financially, and when I was going through some stuff emotionally. I started reflecting and all that, and I'm like, I know I'm not the only one. Let me call Tyler. I think I want to talk about some of this kind of stuff on the podcast because I know I'm not the only one, Ty.
No,
I know I'm not.
No, that's something that me and you talk about pretty often. It's like, me and you are friends because we share a lot of the reflections of what we've gone through in life. Yes, we come from two very different cultures. We come from two very different places. But overall, like me and you share some pretty scary similar stories. And so that's why, like, when you would call me about certain things, I'd be like, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know. I literally know exactly how you're feeling. I know exactly what is in your shoes because either I was there or I understand, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was definitely a trying year, I think, for
most of us,
just about everybody.
Especially if you're out here in the United States, we lead and pave the way for anxiety-based cases because we're just, we're capitalists, by default because we're so consumeristic. We're about consuming, and even Christmas turns into a holiday of consumption and commercialism. Unfortunately, when at the end of the day we have to be reminded that Christmas is not about all that; it's about Christ. Mm-hmm. Christ más, like Latinos, it's más Christ, as in more Christ. We need more Jesus. In this world and definitely in this nation,
for sure.
So I think if I didn't have Christ, bro, and I've experienced the half latter portion of the year, I'd probably be doing some crazy stuff just to numb the pain, to not accept the things that are happening or that had happened to me, and I'm just so blessed. And it's crazy that I still feel blessed because I was doing reflection. So I was reflecting on, wow, last year, this time around, I was at my happiest because I was doing well at my job. I had gotten a raise. I was in a really good relationship. You know her. I was in a relationship and I was like, everything was kind of like feeling good and stuff like that. So I finished 2021 at a very high note and felt blessed, and I was at my happiest. In 2022, I was reflective, and I started seeing all the trials and tribulations, all the things that God allowed to happen, the things that God did allow to happen in my life were a place where it put me in a headspace of suffering and heartache and all these things. But the common denominator, although it wasn't my happiest, is I still feel blessed, and I'm actually feeling a lot closer to the Lord than I did feel last year, and that's kind of funny how that works. But God's always seems to be that refuge when you're at your lowest point. So
no, for sure. Going back on my reflection, I started 2021 in a very low place. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be very honest. You kind of know the situations I was kind of going through. And, the year 2020, 2021 kind of ended in a crazy way where it was like a lot of things could have happened at once, and it was like, but then like beginning of 2022, it just things like completely collapsed. It just seemed like, at least from what I was witnessing, things were just collapsing around me. Yeah. You know what I mean? Things were just happening that way, and it just seemed like obviously I was not in control in any way, shape, or form. And I just kind of was like, I was kind of in shock. I was like, wait a second, like I thought, like and I think one of the things that as I look back over this year, I think one of the things, I think it actually accumulated. It was a couple months ago now. It was a lot going on in my brain and my heart, and at some point my old car died on me. Just utterly died on me on my way home, just like belt shredded, radiator blew. How I got home, is literally an act of God himself. Like there's that car, by the way, that car has not moved since then. I really turned it off and threw the keys away because it is done.
But also had like 200 something thousand miles on
I
it.
called her Storm. She was a literal trooper.
Remember we drove to Orlando with that thing?
Went to Orlando in that thing. I went to Tennessee in it twice.
Bro.
It was a 20, well, supposedly now it's a 20, oh my gosh, can't speak. 2001 Honda CRV.
It's a Honda CRV.
It was a Honda CRV. That thing kept chugging, but it finally just died, and so I had to buy a car. I had to buy a car, which I got a new one. It's a Toyota Camry. It's a 2019 Toyota Camry, so I finally got one in this century.
Right.
And I just remember because I went to my stepmom and asked, a couple of questions, whatever. She kind of helped me with the process. And, at some point it was like everything worked out. Like I have a great monthly rate. Like my insurance is actually kind of low and all this other stuff. So my stepmom said it. And when she said it, it didn't like, how someone says something to you and you don't think about it till like a few hours later.
Yeah. So
she said the phrase, "I'm so glad things are finally looking out for you," and it didn't hit me at the time. I was like, I was really excited because I was getting a car and all this other stuff. And I thought, and I was like really getting into bed and I was reflecting on it and I went, "Holy crap!" That's I didn't even realize it.
Right.
I didn't realize. I was like, yeah, like this, because this whole year, I mean, very few people knew everything that I was going through.
Right.
I can count on, you can really count on 3 fingers who knew what was going on. And when the things started again, quote unquote, looking up, I was like, first off, I was in shock because I was like, first off, I deserve to be in.
Right.
To consistently be in that low place.
Right.
At least that's what my brain kind of thinks, and
Yeah.
And so I was reflecting back on it, and I don't wish what I went through on anybody. I really don't. Even my crazy neighbor who curses me out for parking somewhat near his house. You know who I'm talking about? No, no one knows what I'm talking about. I can show you offline. But
I've been to your community.
Yeah,
I know that neighbor. I've seen that neighbor come out when I was creeping up.
Oh, listen,
because there's nowhere to park because you're kind of in a cul-de-sac, kind of.
It's you park along like a fence / giant bush thing. There's on the outside. You park, and rules of the neighborhood have always been you park where you can. Right. Park where you can. Well, this dude always just yells at me, screams at me, whatever. I'm pretty sure he keyed my car. Yeah, fun fact, my car got keyed. I think it's him because he's the only person on earth I'm beefing with. But I don't know it's him, and I'm not going to just wag an accusatory finger when I actually.
Ring camera, bro. Ring camera.
Well, the problem is he has 3 cameras, and that footage will suddenly disappear. All in quotations.
Right.
But anyways, again, I wouldn't even wish it on him. But when I was reflecting back on the idea of where I was to where I am now, and I actually, to be honest, I questioned God a lot. Yeah. I was very unhappy with God. Yeah. Very unhappy. If I may say, I was pretty pissed at God. Yeah. For a lot of reasons. And in a weird way, I felt justified. I deserve to be pissed at God right now. I deserve God, I'm mad at you because of XYZ. And then I was thinking back on it, and I'm like, the one question that always kept ringing in my head was, why did God allow this, or why did God not allow this to happen? Why would God promise me this and not deliver on that promise? Yeah. That's a question I have been wrestling with all year. Yeah. All year I've been wrestling with it, and I'm full clarity. Yeah. I don't have a full answer yet. Yeah. I don't. I even was telling Navik, shout out to Nav.
I love Navi.
Love you, Nav. I was telling Navik this a few months back. I was like, I don't, because she knows the questions to ask. Yeah. She knows questions to ask, and she was kind of poking me. She was poking at me the other day a little bit about it, and I just remember answering her I may never fully get an answer or fully understand it. That's partially where faith comes in. That's partially where faith is supposed to be and thrive. Right. But for me, I know maybe one day I will fully understand it. Maybe I won't know. I will maybe not know the answer. Yeah. I'll never get, this is the exact answer why, but I'll have an understanding of why that was so important for me, because sometimes God does lead you and keep you in the desert for a reason. Yeah, for sure. To be honest, sometimes it's protect you in ways that you did not realize.
Yeah, amen. Absolutely.
It's like because maybe like, oh, I'm in a desert, I'm thirsty. It's like, okay, well, guess what? You're not currently in paradise right now. Oh, have you ever heard of why am I blanking on it? Oh my gosh, I'm so ashamed. Sodom and Gomorrah, the two cities that got burned down with fire.
Oh yes.
It's like, well, guess what? You were led out of that place because that place is going to be burned down.
Yeah.
You know, you don't know, you don't see the bigger picture until like hindsight 2020.
Right.
Obviously. By the way, forget that year. But sometimes God, like, I don't want to say that, you know, that phrase of like, oh, God leads you, God leads you through it. No. God sometimes makes you live through it. Makes you survive through it.
Allows you to wander in it.
Because you need to have been and experienced that place for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of us feel that way in 2022. Hence why we're having this conversation to just recap 2022. Because, again, I felt very similar to how you felt, you know, lost, asking God why. Why is he allowing this to happen? Why is he allowing this to happen in my life? Why did this go wrong? How could I've done things different? But at the end of the day, like, God kind of is so strategic to how he leads us to his promises and to the truths that he holds all over our lives, right? And sometimes when we get lost in the desert, and a lot of us been there, some of us are currently there or coming out of there, a lot of us, when we're wandering in a desert, we feel like we're walking in circles and we're losing time. Mm-hmm. But we forget that we're serving a timeless God who doesn't operate in our time, he operates in his. And sometimes his timing is not necessarily our timing, and that's where what you said hits. Your faith comes in. We have to exercise our faith to believe that God is over our lives and he has us wherever he needs us. And he would open doors and he also would close some doors. And sometimes the doors that he closes, we have to be obedient to. And sometimes being obedient to your father doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel great. It's not fun. It isn't something that is glamorous. It's something that is, you know, epic. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing like that. But if you go through it and you stay obedient, there's something at the end of that tunnel that is going to be a refuge of peace, a refuge of love, of answers maybe, or partial answers, because sometimes God leaves you with partial answers, which is also okay. You see, sometimes he doesn't want you to have the full concept of what's going on because he has you planted there for a season.
So I'm going to read a little bit of Charles Spurgeon, because this was actually in my evening devotional.
Nice.
Christian,
let's hear it. God
has not left you in your earthly pilgrimage to be guided by an angel. He himself leads the procession. You may not see the cloudy fiery pillar, but the Lord will never forsake you. Notice the word will. The Lord will guide you. This means, and it is certain. We may be sure that God will not forsake us. His precious shawls and wills are better than men's promises. I will never leave you nor forsake you. And of course, he goes back on see that we're continually. By continually hearing the guiding voice of the Great Shepherd, and he will keep us close. We will not drift away, and we'll be led by a right way to our eternal dwelling. So if you happen to change position in life, if you have to emigrate to another country, if it should happen that you are poverty-stricken or suddenly promoted to a more responsible position than the one you currently occupy, if you are thrown among strangers or cast among foes, don't tremble, for, quote, the Lord will guide you continually.
Yeah.
Thank you, Charles Spurgeon.
You're my boy. Everywhere where he leads you, there's a purpose and there's a reasoning to it. It's just that sometimes he doesn't want us to dwell in our comfort zones. And I feel like that's where I'm at now. I'm in my comfort zone, and I think he wants me to jump off that boat of comfort zone and walk on water. You know, and
sometimes, I mean, because we've kind of talked, I think we've touched on the subject a number of times here, but sometimes you need to strip things away before you can fly. Because you and I have talked a little bit. I was sharing a sermon idea. By the way, this is already freaking copyrighted. No, I wish it was copyrighted. I wish I could copyright this sermon.
I got an attorney friend.
Okay, great, perfect. Okay, so let's see. It is December 27th at 9:15. If anyone steals this before this date, you know I had it first. I am writing a sermon that's called. Oh dear, what are you gonna do?
No, I'm just checking.
Oh, okay. You're about to do another sermon.
No.
It's a sermon called "Remove Before Flight."
What is it?
Remove before flight. So
Before
like
flight.
those tags that they have like on airplanes and,
Yes,
and even rockets, where it's like those tags are meant to do a couple of things.
On the bomber jackets too. There's a little thing on the zipper that says "Remove before flight."
Those are there for a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
It's to bring you to something to either check, remove, or even replace. And all three of those things, like I'm tying it to the story of when Jesus cast out the legion of demons.
Right.
But basically, it's like sometimes you have to remove certain. Like yes, you have to do like this is the short version of it. You have to do a poll. You have to do a pulse check, right? Like where are you? Like how are you doing? Are you doing okay? Are you doing bad? You have to have an honest check with yourself, because here's the thing: if you're not honest about certain gauges, you're going to crash.
You're gonna crash and burn, yeah.
Right? Or if in rocketry, because thank you, Elon, you're going to blow up. Right? It's called rapid unscheduled disassembly.
Yeah.
It is a big fiery mess.
Right.
Okay.
And this is going to be a sermon?
This is a sermon. I'm in the process of writing it.
Nice. Very good.
And then the other one is sometimes you have to remove certain components, because it keeps the aircraft locked.
Right.
So that no one outside of who needs to fly it can fly it.
Right.
And it's to make sure something doesn't accidentally start and gets other people hurt. Right? Then there's some things that you need to like add a component.
Yeah.
Sometimes you may need to add something.
Right.
So all three of that combined together with that story, it's like, hey, you know what? It's sometimes before you can really truly fly and be in the purpose that God has for you up here,
right,
where you're flying amongst the clouds and even the thunderstorm. Because like, listen, when people sometimes when people fly, they don't realize how many times you fly through a thunderstorm.
Right.
Right. Like lightning will hit you, but you can still keep flying.
Right.
You can still keep going. So like when you're high up in your purpose and you're amongst the clouds and where little kids think heaven is.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Like when you're in your purpose, sometimes you have to remove some things. Sometimes you have to leave that behind. So yeah, we're leaving behind 2022.
Yeah.
By 2022, we
Yeah.
are out of here. We are leaving you behind,
Yeah.
because there's so much more coming our way.
Yes. And just to piggyback off of that, I'd like to just, because I'm challenging myself.
Again, if any of you steal my sermon, I will find you. I have a lawyer.
Hey, shout outs to Michael Bryan Esquire, my lawyer.
Can he be my lawyer?
He's my friend before my lawyer, though. I've known Mike since. Oof.
Well, I might need a lawyer now.
Yeah. So Michael Bryan Esquire, love you, bro. But yeah, like just a big piggyback off of that, especially, and I want to talk to the broad audience, but let me for a quick minute talk to us men, right, Christian men. A lot of us, we tend to go through a whole year and go through this time of reflection, a time that you could have done this different, could have done that different. Now you're planning, you're scheming, and you're trying to be better for your the new year is going to be a new you, new year, new me kind of thing, right? A lot of us do bring certain things that weigh us down, either consciously or subconsciously. Most of the time when it's subconsciously, we don't even realize the weights that we're bringing to the new year. And a lot of it is because we tend to hold on those things that feel quote unquote good, because you're used to that weight. When God's asking you, hey, let go of that stuff. You don't need to hold on to that.
Yeah.
Whether it's a person, a habit, or whatever it is, or even a struggle, like let go of that. I got you. If you really want to thrive in the new year, let go of that stuff, because I look at it as us playing with garbage. A lot of the stuff that we need to let go of is trash, like legit trash. Like let go of that stuff, because you don't want to be that dude that's playing in trash. Like you don't want to play in trash. Don't play with the trash that God's calling you to discard, calling you to drop, calling you to walk away from. And a lot of us don't walk away from, or half do it, but you keep it close enough where you can go at arm's length, go grab it and keep it next to you because you're comfortable with it. Same thing with our sin, right? Whatever sin we're struggling with, whether it's pornography, lust, a lot of us men deal with that kind of stuff, anger, all this stuff. Like, yeah, we're trying to change, we're trying to walk away from it, but sometimes we treat it like it's some type of like animal that we need to tame. And sometimes when we treat it like an animal that we need to tame, we pet it. And what happens when you start petting a lion that's domesticated? If you start petting a lion that's domesticated and you start petting it long enough, it's going to bite you. Because at the end of the day, it's a lion and it's designed to kill. You know what I'm saying? So I think we do that a lot with our sin. We pet it. We think we have control over it. Oh, I've been good for 3-4 months, and you're petting it and you're petting it and you think you have control of it and you're taming it, you're domesticating it. But that lion's going to catch you when you're vulnerable, weak, angry, and frustrated. And that's when you're at your weakest, because I know that's when I'm at my weakest, when I'm frustrated, angry, and weak and vulnerable.
See, you're sizing up your sin, but your sin is also doing the same thing to you.
Right.
There's a story I remember when I was told in high school. I had my teacher her daughter had a friend who owned like a really big snake, like a very like a freaking massive. I don't know if it was an anaconda or some massive snake, and for
probably a python,
or
a boa constrictor.
Well, it was definitely longer than people length, because at one point,
because these Burmese pythons get like long, like 13, 16 feet.
Every single time that this chick woke up, she woke up with a snake just like stretched out next to her, and it kept happening. So she finally went to the vet, and the vet panicked and was like, "You put the thing away right now, because it's measuring itself up to." And I just like, of course, like, and then so my teacher's daughter would sometimes like, when they hang out, just like do like this, just to pretend to be a snake. But at the same time, like, your sin measures you up too.
Yeah, absolutely.
It measures you up. It's like, okay, where are you at now? Oh, what are you doing now? Oh, hey, you think you were doing good, but are you doing good enough?
Yeah.
Are you doing good enough? Oh, you know what? It's just, hey, it's okay. You can just come up, right? And it's measuring itself up to like, how can I eat you again? How can I devour you once again to have you back in my clutches all the time?
Right.
All the time.
Yeah, that's such a good word. That's actually a sermon right there, bro. Write that one down, bro. That's a sermon, and that'll preach, bro. That'll preach.
We got to talk offline, but that's one of the good things that's coming up. So
that's good. That's good. Danny, can you do me a favor, bro? Can you grab a bottle of water for me? Because I'm parched. I love you, brother.
That's why I brought this.
Shouts to Danny. Danny actually did a pod not too long ago.
Hey.
I'll take one as well, sir.
Audience member, would you like a water?
Yeah, please.
Thank you, brother.
I would love one. Thank you, kind sir.
But that'll definitely preach, because again, like I've definitely seen myself thinking, oh, I got control over it.
You're a man and a scholar. Thank you.
I've been doing well. I've been behaving, kind of thing. I haven't watched porn in a while, and when I was struggling with porn, I used to measure like, oh, it's been 3 months, I'm good.
Yeah.
And then something happens, and I'm in my house, pissed off, angry, sexually frustrated, whatever the case may be, and I'm watching porn. And I'm back at square one again. And it's just a beast to kind of tame, and we have no business taming it. We just have we have what's called not just asking for forgiveness, but also, looking at God and saying, God, I want to walk away from my sin. I just don't want to ask for forgiveness. I actually want to walk away from it.
Yeah.
And that's a process in itself.
I think I was hearing the pastor talk about like that particular struggle, and he's like, a lot of times a lot of guys think it's just, oh, I need to get to a certain goal and then I'll be free of it. No, it's now a full character change. Okay. You're now going to be changing your entire character because you've let that take over.
Right.
You've let it measure itself up, and it's fitting into your life again, and it's squeezing in, and it's eating you up slowly from the inside. Like now, it's a full character change.
Yeah.
Now you have to really, in a way, change your whole character again.
Absolutely.
And that is harder than what most guys want to even admit. It's like, oh, well, I can do it real quick, no problem. Like I can beat this. Wrong.
So wrong. I mean, I've dealt with anger issues early on in my Christian walk, because I was an angry person prior to getting saved, and I learned, and through therapy, shouts to Alex, through therapy, he actually.
Are you gonna bring him back on?
I'm gonna try this.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your thought. Are you gonna bring him back on?
I should. He's no longer my therapist because I'm doing Christian therapy now.
But you should still bring him back on.
I still definitely. I still keep in touch with him. As a matter of fact, I went to dinner with Alex at the Yard House, and he treated me for dinner around September, October, of this year.
Okay.
And we just chopped it up, and because he became a friend. He's like the therapist that becomes your friend.
Yeah.
And some people would, in his field, will frown upon that because ethically you're not supposed to befriend your clients.
You're not supposed to be. You're not supposed to befriend them
in their field.
In their field, but more so, it's like if they're your actual client. Now, if they're not your client, you can chop it up as long as it doesn't cross certain boundaries with other with other therapists.
So when I went to dinner, we went to the Yard House. I love the Yard House. Their coconut shrimp, bro,
it's so
fire,
good,
but
fire. The word all night.
Yeah, so he would tell me like when I was his client and he was probing me and just trying to get certain things out of me. You know how that's what they do. That's completely what they do. They just probe you. They ask questions. They're kind of digging in and peeling back layers and whatever. And we were talking about anger, and he was asking me who was the yeller in the house, and I'm like, huh? And he was like, who's the yeller in the house? And I'm like, how did you know there was a yeller in the house to begin with? And he's like, is it your father? And I go, yeah. And he's like, you picked that up as a kid and you didn't even know it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, that's crazy. And he was like, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I do find myself feeling like my dad. And he's like, well, there you go. All these behaviors are learned. When it comes to anger.
I'm sorry. The action behind the camera got me so good.
Yeah, Jose's having way too much fun right now as an audience member / cameraman.
I love it. We need more interaction like that.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's what it is. Like, that's basically what it is. It's learned behavior. And so because it's learned behavior, you can unlearn it.
You can absolutely
unlearn it. So
you can unlearn it.
And a lot of people are so doom and gloom when it comes to that. It's like, oh, well, that's how I am. That's how my father is. And that's how my grandfather is. And that's who we are. And they just seem to accept that.
So you're going to let your pride get in the way of making you better? Or?
So it's like, it's definitely pride that gets in the way of us being better men.
Absolutely.
Not just better men, but better men of God. Like, so I started learning that. I'm like, yes, I do get that from my dad. Yes, my dad was a yeller, and I was a yeller, and definitely in my college years when I was dating and getting into relationships, I was most definitely the yeller. And I would get to some tantrums where I'm throwing stuff across the room and putting holes in the wall. That was me at several occasions back then, and it was just something that I had to realize that, wow, all these behaviors are definitely learned, and I'm slowly unlearning a lot of these tics that I have still. I call them tics because it's like these short outbursts. It doesn't become something out of like what it used to be back then, where it was like on prolonged argument that led to a bigger argument that led to possibly a physical interaction to led to, whatever it might have led to. It is not none of that, but I do deal with certain tics. I know my tics now, thanks to therapy. So what I'll do is I'll let the person know, hey, I'm shutting down. Hey, I'm getting a little angry. It's best for me to leave the conversation, get up, walk away, or we can revisit this conversation at a later time.
Yeah.
And that's how I'm doing it now. And I encourage anybody who's listening, who's dealing with anger currently. It's like, hey, if you're dealing with anger, you're calling yourself a Christian, and you want to do better, you can do better. There is hope for you.
There's a book. I'm blanking on the author's name, but my dad. I've been pretty vocal about how much I really love and respect my dad.
Oh yeah,
there was no doubt. Anyone who's met my dad,
Sasquatch,
Papa Squatch. Yes, that's exactly how he is on my phone. But he definitely, when I was younger, he definitely had a lot of anger issues. 110%. You could attribute that to a number of things like alcohol consumption, whatever. Right. But he really just was like, he had outbursts and it scared me. Listen, if you had Sasquatchiana at you, he'd run for the hills too.
Yeah, he's a big.
Oh,
not only is he a big boy, but he's a tall boy.
He's a tall. Well, and that big one pack that he's got now. Yes, I've said it, Dad. I said it to him. But there was a book that he read when he was really struggling with, because it was him and my stepmom were getting close to divorce.
Right.
Him, my dad and my mom divorced, and he and my wonderful stepmother were close to kind of getting there, and so he kind of sought some help, but more importantly, he was reading some books, and there's one book in particular. It was called 3 Seconds.
3 what?
3 Seconds.
3 seconds.
3 seconds. That's literally what it's called. 3 seconds, and it's literally you stop, you breathe, and you count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Now I don't remember the whole thing in the book. Like this is just something he taught me years ago, but that was a huge help for him. A huge help for him. And here's the thing, men. I'm speaking to the men now, right? Whether you're a father or you're potentially being a father, your kids are watching you 100% of the time. 100% of the time. So if you have anger issues, your kids are going to have anger issues.
Yeah.
I had anger issues when I was younger. Granted, I could attribute that to one reason or another, but as a whole, I know for a fact I picked up from my dad. Just like you said, just like you. I picked up from my dad, just the habits of this. But then I noticed as we reflect, as my dad got better, I got better. My dad set an example, and I was following it. Remember, my dad is the reason I got back. My dad's the reason I got really got into church in the first place, which eventually adjusted and directed the trajectory of my life.
Wow. Yeah.
Into ministry. I would not have any interest in ministry or church unless my dad had taken the steps and had pointed me to be in church. Had directed himself to improve. Because if he's like, he had those outbursts and he's saying, you need to go to church. I didn't listen to him.
Right.
It's like, bro, you're a hypocrite. But no, my dad went above and beyond to make sure that his family stayed together. That he himself improved. That he set the example.
Right.
My dad, yes, he's older now, and he's I'm so tired. Yes, I'm making fun of you, Dad. I love you, but he finds enjoyment out of helping people and doing that.
I've seen it.
Has a servant's heart.
I've seen it firsthand, brother.
Every Saturday,
Boca Helping Hands.
Every Saturday, Boca Helping Hands. It's funny because he's humble about it. He's like, I'm just a parking lot guy. No, this man got them set up on a completely Wi-Fi network.
Right.
Helped them design forms and stuff that can be done through iPads.
Right.
So it's almost like you're going to Chick-fil-A. When they come up to you and you're, what's your order? It's just like, what's your name? Okay, you're sending great. The process went from 3-4 hours. My dad can get it done. The whole process, and every car filled, new person signed up, everything from open to close, they can get it done in an hour and a half. Not even.
Hour and a half.
And it was at first 3-4 hours in the system. But again, my dad being the quote parking lot guy came in and changed that. He set the tone for both myself and my brother and sister.
That's awesome. We need more men like that, man.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying. Men, it's like you want to be, you want to, lead a family, whatever. Like you have to realize you are being watched.
Yeah, for sure.
Not just by our Heavenly Father, but by the people that He has blessed you, that you are to be a father.
Especially if you got little humans running around, man.
Especially if you got little humans.
They're sponges. I catch myself, modifying my behavior because I don't want Connor to have a misconception of certain things and how I'm acting, because he takes it out of context. He might take my behavior literal, and he may think that that's okay when I'm just goofing with another adult. Because, as adults, we goof, but kids don't have that. They don't have the mental capacity to translating as, they're just playing around. You know what I mean? So I definitely have to watch, especially when I'm with them and around them. Got to watch how I talk. Watch my levels. I'm going to make sure that I don't yell, because yelling is something that they pick up on. I just try my best. Definitely try my best to do those things, to set an example that, hey, there's a time and place to goof around. There's a time and place to yell. You're not going to use outside noises in the living room. We're just not going to do that, especially when there's adults in the room trying to have a conversation. You know what I'm saying? So all those little things do matter when it comes to kids.
And they do notice.
Absolutely.
I noticed my dad's improvement. They're going to notice your improvement or lack of improvement.
Right. Absolutely.
And I think that's also I'm not trying to scare anybody, but if my dad, Big John Wyman, didn't do the steps he did, I would have noticed that, because there was at one point I did not want to be anywhere close related to my dad.
Right.
I didn't want to be my dad's son, because I was like, my dad's like angry all the time. He's this, he's that. Like I don't want to be I didn't want to be either of my parents.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, you know what? I am so okay with being my father's
And that's such a great story too for people to hear, because hey, there's redeeming in that. If you find yourself that parent, or you find yourself dealing with that type of parent, wherever side of the fence you lay on, there's hope. You know what I'm saying? And for those that are listening that heard some of our conversations about changing your ways, or letting go, what you said earlier, letting go of some stuff that you dealt with in 2022, let go of that stuff and take a blank canvas in 2023 and just go and make art out of it. But you're not doing that art by yourself. You're doing it with your Heavenly Father, and He's going to make a way for you. I believe He's going to make a way for me. You know, some of the stuff that I need to let go of that I dealt with in 2022, like I got to let go of that stuff and bring a blank canvas into 2023 and be like, yeah, God, clean slate. I'm here. I'm not even waiting for January. I'm actually I started this month like, hey, God, I'm changing up my routine. I'm still doing my morning devotionals, but I can't dwell on this anymore. I can't go back to talking to this person anymore because it's going to trigger me about this person. So I got to let go and disassociate myself from certain people that I used to associate myself with, and just be mindful of who I'm allowing in my table. Not everybody is able to sit at my table anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like I have to be very, very intentional as to who I allow in my life and have a seat at my table. And I encourage those who are listening to do the same. You don't have to be everybody's friend. You don't have to tell everyone all of your business. I don't care what church you go to. I don't care
Man's
what
preaching
church.
from experience too.
And I'm preaching from experience, bro. And I'm not trying to send out any subliminals out there and stuff like that.
We've talked about it.
We talked about it. I'm not trying to talk.
I'm
I'm not trying to talk down on anybody. You know, I really don't want to do that. And if you feel some type of way, and if the shoe fits, then wear it, my friend. I'm sorry. I'll pray for you, because God says, pray for your enemies, pray for your friends, and pray for everyone. And I'm just speaking from experience. So for that listener that's dealing with any type of drama, let go of that stuff. You don't need to bring that drama to 2023. I promise you that. Start now. Don't wait till January. Same thing with fitness. Don't wait till January. Start now. I went to the gym today and I didn't feel like doing it. I was like, why go to the gym today when this past Christmas weekend I've been a hog and just eating everything in sight? But you know what? I went to the gym today and I did a full-blown leg workout. Deadlifts, box squats, leg presses, incline leg presses, Bulgarian lunges. I did it all. I'm going to be feeling it tomorrow, but I did it all and it just felt good. It felt good. So why not now? Because if you wait till January, you're probably not going to start. Start now. If you're looking for a sign, this is your sign. This is your sign. But yeah, that's basically what I wanted to piggyback off on. I know it was like a long-winded thing, but that's what I really wanted to just let the listeners know. Like, hey, you know, you guys are. It's not a doom and gloom type thing.
No,
it's not. Stop soaking in your misery. Stop soaking in your sin. Even.
I'm going to go back to one of our favorite people, Navik. You can be in your feelings. You can be there for a day or so.
Yeah, she actually gave me 5 minutes, bro. I remember one time I was confiding into Navik or whatever, and Navik goes, "That's great. You feel angry. You're feeling emotional. You got 5 minutes." She goes, "You got 5 minutes, boo boo." I'm like, 5 minutes? She's like, yeah, just let it all out. 5 minutes is actually a long time.
Listen,
sit there and wait 5 minutes.
I was thankful. I'm like, okay, I got a day from Navik. Thank God,
she gave me 5 minutes, bro, and I'm like, you know what, Nav, you're right. Let me just use this 5 minutes to let this anger out. Sometimes we need a good cry too. All you men out there, you need a good cry.
Straight facts.
Not in front of women.
Okay. Oh, hold on, wait. I love how the audience, we have two people. We have one person absolutely just like nod his whole body like yes.
And then Danny goes, no.
Like,
but I know why Danny's saying no, because he actually touched on it on the podcast that we did when we talked about narcissism, femininity, masculinity, all this other stuff. Like, he won't do it in front of a female, which is respectable. But we do need...
You can still do it. You can still do it.
We could still cry we could still cry. We could still cry and be vulnerable amongst the group of men that you are doing quote unquote life with. I'm plugged into a group of men. I encourage you Christian men that are listening who are yet to be plugged in with a group of men, do it.
Or find yourself a really
or accountability partner,
great mentor,
or mentor.
A mentor.
But
that's what I found.
But if you want it, but it's great. It's great to let a good cry go, bro. A good cry go.
Sorry, for those who can't see it, we're having a little poking fun at Danny because he's like, "Oh man, I should have said that."
You know you said that.
You know you did. Listen,
it's
only
okay.
Thousands of people have heard it. No big deal.
It's all right. That's all right.
No, it's just context.
Yeah, that's very, very
There's
true.
a lot of details in that.
So this is a not so shameless plug to go back and listen to that episode.
Yeah, I think that was episode 56 that we did. 57. 56. Yeah.
Yeah, ready for the magic of editing.
Click on the description below if you listen. If you're tuning in on YouTube,
I'm gonna do that, and he's gonna do nothing with it. So I'm just gonna look like an idiot just doing.
You're fine. You'll find it. But I'm sorry, I cut you off in the middle of your sentence.
What was I talking about?
I don't know.
Well, hold on, wait. You should tell the story, the encouraging story that you told me. So Javi called me last night. We were on the phone for a little bit, and he told me a really cool story that I don't know why anyone would want to request this, but he had a gentleman, I don't know who it was, request. It's like, oh yeah, hey, love listening to your podcast. Like, when's Tyler coming back on?
Patrick, Mr. Patrick Dillon, I know you're listening because you listen to every single one of my episodes.
I have but one question. Why do you want to listen to two buffoons?
Patrick,
just idiotically just
so let's get. I want to give
things.
some love to Patrick, only because
Love you, bro.
Patrick has donated on multiple times.
Oh.
He's been sharing my content since day one. He's been DMing me.
He's definitely sharing this bit.
Since day one. He's been DMing me privately, encouraging me, saying, even critiquing me on certain things, and just wanting to ask questions as to what I meant when I said X, Y, Z. And I love that about Patrick. I love that so much. That being said, I had bumped into him at a 6 o'clock in the evening service at Anchor. And I bumped into Patrick because he serves in the mornings and he as the parking lot attendant. And I bumped into him, and he goes, "Hey, Javi, love your stuff. Continue the good work. Blah 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 blah." And then at the very end, he goes, "Hey, question for you." I'm like, "What's up?" He's like, "When are you gonna have Tyler back? You guys are hilarious, and you make it fun to watch and view and blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "Oh, thanks, dude. That was so encouraging."
It's funny. I think for the longest time, my brain was like, ain't nobody want to see two idiots go back and forth. And I was absolutely proven wrong. So, Patrick, thank you.
Thank you, Patrick. I love you, man. Love you so much. But yes, so
now you got what you asked for.
Yeah, you got your shout out. No, I shot him out here and there.
No, I'm saying no. He's got the two.
Oh yes, you got us acting like crazies and speaking Jesus
all the time.
All the time. Oh, speaking of Jesus, before we go, because I know we're pressed for time.
Speaking of our Lord and Savior,
let me share a Bible verse that I wanted to share with the audience today, and I found it in James, chapter 1, verse 12, and it's in that vein of just encouraging people. Because we've been talking about letting go of some stuff, bringing the blank canvas into 2023. Let's not bring the weights of 2022 weigh us down in 2023. So let's just unhinge those weights and pull on those straps and let those weights go. You're going to be running a lot faster, running your race that God has you on a lot faster with agility, durability, and strength. And you can only find that in Christ Jesus. Amen?
Amen.
All right. So James 1.
Amen. Hallelujah. And please rise for the benediction.
So at James 1 verse 12, it just says, "Blessed is the man who remains steadfast under trial." And we could just stop right there, bro. We could just stop right there. But blessed is the man who remains steadfast under trial. For when he has stood the test, he will receive the crown of life, which God has promised to those who love him. Mm-hmm. But we could have just stopped at blessed is the man who remains steadfast.
Yeah, but you need to say the whole thing because the whole context matters.
Absolutely. It sure does.
Sorry, I harp on context matters for the Bible
Pastor.
so much.
I know, Pastor. I know. And you got a sermon that we're all probably going to be looking forward to listening to, and wherever platform you're gonna
when it comes out, I will let you know.
But I just wanted to kind of read that only because we all stand and go through trials. Mm-hmm. Trials and tribulations is just part of life. It's how you handle those trials and tribulations that's the secret sauce. The secret sauce is really what God is, commanding us to do. It's just stay the course. Just because you feel some turbulation, just because you feel some bumps in the road, just because you have this hurdle that you need to jump over, or sometimes run through it, bro. We have to, stay steadfast, because blessed is that man who stays there, running his course and going where Jesus is leading him. And if we, derail from that, because some of us turn into self-sabotagers, let's just keep it a buck. Mm-hmm. We do things out of anger, out of frustration, and it becomes a self-sabotaging thing. Hey, speaking from experience. And we self-sabotage, and then we get angry at God, start yelling at God, start asking God questions.
Cursing him in ways that you would
right.
go, what?
And I'm not saying that questioning God isn't healthy. It most definitely is. There's
look in the Bible.
You look at the Bible.
Listen, have you heard of Lamentations?
Yeah.
Have you read
Job?
Psalms?
Psalms?
I mean, Psalms is just like half of like David and Israel going, God, where are you?
Where are you?
And they're going like, look, God, you're not here. You're not delivering us from our enemies, but yet we know that you have. It's really them still remaining faithful, even though they were allowed to question it.
Right.
And I know that the writers and the canonical councils left that in there on purpose, mm-hmm. because this is something that Caleb and I, Marco and I, and a number of other people have talked about. Where it's like, look, life is a journey. You have those ups and downs. You're like we said, you're like in the big church word, the big D word in church now is deconstruction.
Yeah.
You're demonetized. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But it's okay. I feel like it's okay to deconstruct. Just don't stop at the deconstruction. Just get somewhere with it.
I tell people this because I know there was a big thing with John Cooper.
I'm actually going to have a deconstruction podcast coming up soon.
And
wink, wink,
wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Bob's your uncle. But the lead singer Skillet, one of this thing was if you're deconstructing, you're not a real Christian, or I forget what the exact quote is. I don't want to misrepresent it, but there was a big kind of controversy about it. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because again, we've talked about it on this podcast a number of times. Mm-hmm. Depends upon what you are deconstructing. Right. For me, it was more about culture than it was about my actual faith. Right. But that deconstruction helped lead me through school, but then B helped me have a better understanding of the Word of God. Right. Of his actions, by me questioning, listen, again, I'm just fully honest, I've been plenty of times pissed and mad at God in life and going God, why are you doing this? But I'm still a Christian. Yeah, I don't think the deconstruction is a demonic thing. I do like to tread lightly on that, because like you said, deconstructing culture, deconstruction, the stuff. A lot of that comes from church hurt. Yeah, that's just very honest. As long as you're not deconstructing the resurrection, I think you're fine. Because there's been people where they just you want to open those doors. Yeah, they deconstructed the actual resurrection, and it's bro, no, you got to go to Bible, and there's clearly proof that the resurrection is true. It's an actual event. But yeah, I mean, I think that's healthy to wrestle with the Lord, to have questions. It's okay not to be okay. It's just not okay to stay there. When it comes to your faith and your relationship with the Lord, I tell all my guys too, let's start dating God more than we are trying to do any other thing outside of that. Let's start spending some more time with
with God. I talked to Jose about discernment. We're always asking for discernment and praying for discernment, and God convicted me and said, okay, you're praying for discernment. Where's my devotion? Mm-hmm. So how do you expect me to give you discernment and you're not giving me devotion? And we had a long conversation about that, me and Jose, Danny as well. We talked about, dating. And it's like we're on these apps, we're putting ourselves out there. We want to do all these things, like such as myself, because I'm a man. I don't want to be single forever. You know what I'm saying? We all want to put ourselves out there as a single Christian man. And we tend to kind of start chasing that a little too hard. And we forget that God is a jealous God. And we spoke about this over dinner one night. And I told a little bit of my story about feeling that conviction of like, all right, Javi, you want this, you want that. I know that you see a future with a wife and possibly a kid or two, but you're here now,
or 9,
and you're available now. And all you're doing is worrying about that when I got you on that end. But where's my devotion? Why aren't you dating me? Why aren't you chasing me as hard as you're chasing women? You know what I'm saying? And that was a huge conviction.
It's hard to know somebody that you don't really know.
Right.
Like, if we want to know what God's going to do, like, yes, we don't fully understand what he's
That's so good. Say that one more time, please.
What I say?
It's so hard.
Play it back.
It's so hard to know somebody that you don't know.
Yes.
It really is, though.
Like, because here's the thing.
If you don't really know God, it's hard to follow a person that you don't really know.
Exactly. Like, you know me enough that it's like, oh, I know Tyler would say something about this. Oh, you know what? Like, he's got something to say about that. Or like,
3 years running, bro.
Oh,
time flies, right? And even though I feel like I've known you longer, but
of course.
3 years.
Listen, it just took what, $120 worth of drinks at Disney.
We'll talk about that
Disney prices.
later. But yeah, man.
3 years run, but it's hard to
know someone.
You can't say, oh, like, God's not speaking to me. It's like, well, have you spoken to him?
Say that again, bro. Say that again.
Do I have to say it again? Do I have to? Someone just tweeted out for me.
But no, that is so true. That's so true. Continue.
For you to fully know God, you need to know him, and you need to continuously get to know him. Because one of the things that even I performed a wedding recently. Shout out to the Neves.
Hey.
That's William and Shauna Neves. Love you guys. One of the things that I kind of was talking with them was like, it's like, don't ever give up. But like, even just their wedding, but like even other weddings I've done, it's like, hey, like, don't stop dating each other. Like, even though you're all married, don't stop dating each other, because y'all are going to continuously grow. Because I was even talking to someone who's very near and dear to my heart. We were talking about like change, like, how parents change over time, right? Mm-hmm. Like, when you go into marriage, 30, 40 years down the line, after kids and all these kids, and after kids, like, you're not the same people. You're not the same people. Like, you constantly are changing.
Yeah, you got to evolve simultaneously and together.
And almost in a weird way that you have to keep getting to know that person.
Mm-hmm. And keep taking them out on dates.
And keep getting, it's like, hey, what do you think about this? Hey,
That's what a lot of us fail to, like, not a lot of us, because I've never been married, but I've seen it in my peers that's gotten divorces. In some cases, there's outliers out there.
Of course.
But in some cases, typically, when they're 13, 15, 20 years in, and then they have a divorce, it's essentially because things got stale. They didn't know how to navigate. The man didn't know how to take the lead and navigate through that. Didn't take this proper steps to date and continue on dating. It's something that they get comfortable in. It's something that's like, oh, we have kids now. It's the kid and the kids.
The kid and kid alone. Yeah. It's like beyond the kid, we have nothing in common.
And nothing in common anymore. Exactly. And that's where that friction and that tension kind of births into being so what's that word I'm looking for? Divisive, if I can use that word, because it becomes a divisive thing. And it's like a monkey wrench is thrown into the relationship, and you don't know how to navigate through that. And all of a sudden, you're fighting. You're unhappy. She's unhappy. She wants a divorce, and you're just stuck like Chuck. Like, what's going on? Mm-hmm. What happened? And I see it all the time, and it's very unfortunate.
It is very unfortunate, and and you're right. Unfortunately, it happens way more than we give it credit for.
Yeah.
And I mean, even people now, like, I mean, I know there are people stuck in like loveless relationships and marriages, but they just feel like they just can't get out of it,
Right.
for one reason or another.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very sad to see, but it's like, you know, I even said it in the wedding. It's like, look, you two have a love for each other because you both know love.
Yeah.
Love is not love the idea, the actual embodiment of love, which is God.
And a lot of us love the idea of having a relationship with God. It's like you like that idea. It sounds good. It feels good. But I think relationship with the Lord is more than a feeling.
And I think it's ironic. People idolize, like, I don't want to just say, like, just slap this terminology on it, but, like, you know, people, like, see these, you know, see certain pastors or whatever, and it's like people get jealous of that relationship. It's like, they don't have any special relationship with God. Like, I'm sorry, like, any person with their pastor in front of it has no more special connection with God than you do.
Right.
Sorry, not sorry to spoil the beans, but that's really what it is, right? If you're jealous of that, well, why aren't you doing anything to change it then?
Yeah.
Right? It's like, oh man, I wish I had heard about it. I wish that. It's like, well, then get up and freaking change it. I'm sorry, like men, grow a pair, like get up and change it.
Yeah, just be an adult. Be an adult at the end of the day.
Of course, I say that, and no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. No, but I mean, in closing, guys and gals, I know we've been talking to the dudes, but this goes for everybody.
Ladies, I'm sorry.
This goes for the ladies too. Ladies,
I know nothing about you.
I know ladies struggle too, and I can't relate because I'm definitely not a lady, and I don't deal with lady things.
That's kind of what I just said. I mean, I don't know.
But ladies, if you find yourself struggling and not knowing where to go, and you're single, get
Javi's right here.
No,
I'm kidding.
Get in a group and get in the right group. Don't because you know how misery loves company.
Heck yes.
Don't surround yourself with miserable, bitter, single women, please.
Don't become a Karen.
Because they'll leave you bitter and single. And I know that you don't want to stay bitter and single. So surround yourself with married women. Surround yourself with who you want to become, who you strive to be. If you really truly want to strive to be a wife, hang out with wives that are in thriving relationships, that are serving at churches, that are doing above and beyond whatever it is that they're doing in their communities. You know, do life with them. Get plugged in with them. Don't get plugged in with the wrong. And that goes with guys too. Like, don't get caught up with dudes that are. I
mean, it's the concept of, like, if you want to be somewhere, like, you essentially get discipled.
Yeah.
You want to be that, get discipled.
It's all about discipleship.
Like, if you want to be, listen, I mean, it's very common in the pastor church world. It's like, if you want to be a pastor, you need to be under a pastor.
Right.
Right? You're not going to be under the person just handing out, you know, what are those things called? Not devotionals.
Pamphlets.
The pamphlets at the beginning of church. Like, you're not going to study under that person to become the guy, like, leading an entire congregation.
Right.
No, that's not how that works.
Yeah.
You know, like, if you want to be that, find someone who's living the life that you want to live. That's really what it is.
That's a fact. That's a whole fact. So, couple things before we go.
No, we're not ending.
Leave the weights down. Let them go. Get plugged into a thriving community. You mentioned get a mentor. That's a great thing to do. You also mentioned, we also touched on devotion. Get into your devotion. Get into your time with the Lord.
Might I suggest a couple of devotions?
Go ahead.
My grandfather just gave me a Tim Tebow devotional for Christmas.
I follow him on TikTok. His TikToks are fire.
I will let that leave. I'll leave that there. I'll not comment on that. The Charles Spurgeon devotional, if you want something a little bit different. Charles Spurgeon has a 365 devotional. That one's really good. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the other one. But there's just two right there if you want to get like the who doesn't know Tim Tebow?
Right.
You know, but just get yourself a devotion.
Yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
If you have the Bible app, if you don't have it, get it. It has like a billion different ones.
Right.
So you have all these choices.
Yeah.
Just get one.
And whatever didn't work for you in 2022, it's clearly not going to work for you in 2023. So let's just move on, heal, continue to heal, embrace the journey, because healing is a journey. I'm in that journey, and like you said, I am speaking from experience, but I also want to encourage people, challenge people. I don't want to call people out, as I always say. I want to call people up. and just 2023 is going to be a great year for a lot of us, and I want to kind of declare that in this room because I'm in a room full of men that I love, believe in, and I think 2023 is going to be a trying year, but a blessed year. And I want it to be known for you listeners out there, you viewers out there, that it's going to be a trying year. However, you're going to navigate it with a great pilot by the name of Jesus, who has control over the wheel, and he'll get you through. I think that's it. I don't have any more announcements. Is that the 2023 entertaining having a panel with more than one person. So you might see Tyler with another person.
How dare you
or
make
another...
me share the screen with somebody?
So you're going to see more panels in 2023. I think having a panel and speaking and having conversation over topical things is definitely going to be a new dynamic going forward with the podcast. A lot of you has been asking me if I'm going to have more of a panel type of vibe, and I'm definitely entertaining that idea. But if you're new to the show, I am weekly, every Wednesday on all digital platforms. Thank you for liking, sharing, commenting. It helps the algorithm. I truly thank you guys, because you guys got me over 2,400 followers on Instagram. Hey, I'm on my way to 3,000. So keep sharing.
It's not about the numbers, kids.
But it's not about the numbers.
It's not about the numbers, kids.
Low key, it is, because I'm content creator. No, I'm kidding. But I do appreciate y'all. Till next time, thank you for hanging out with us for the last hour and 25.
Hold up.
Tyler.
Hold up.
Before we go, let's go.
Before we go, I feel like we need to I know this entire podcast was kind of like a, hey, we're signing off of the year type of podcast.
Yeah.
But do you maybe want to declare something into 2023?
Yes. Declare.
Narrow it down to a sentence.
A sentence. Okay.
I'm going to give you 5 words.
5 words? Just 5?
Just 5.
Man.
I am sorry. That was mean. Just a sentence.
Well, going into 2023, I want to, because this is actually for me, and I know that if it's for me, it'll be for someone out there. And it's going to be very simple. Let go of the ish. And I don't want to curse, but just let go. Let go of that stuff, because if you play with it, you're going to come out dirty. Mm-hmm. And no one wants to be walking around filthy, dirty, because you couldn't let go of certain things. So, let go of that stuff, because when you play with it, you're going to smell, you're going to be stained, and you're going to be walking around smelly spiritually, obviously. So a lot of us, But that's what the living water's for, so you can clean yourself off. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. But a lot of us play with the crap that they deal with and let them, hinder their walk. And I think we shouldn't be playing with crap. There should be a zero. Here's a word. Zero tolerance for ish. Zero tolerance for ish, guys. Don't let ish get in the way of your calling. This is a family podcast. Yes. So don't let go of the ish. Zero tolerance for that, because it does mess with us, especially us men, because we walk with ego, we walk with pride. We're prideful individuals. Mm-hmm. But this goes for everybody, not just men. Just let go of the crap, man. Don't play with it, because if you play with crap, you're gonna smell like crap. You're gonna be stained like crap, and being stained and smelly is hard to. You're gonna become hard to hang around with. Mm-hmm. So just let go of that stuff, man, and you guys will be fine. How about you? You got last encouraging words for the people, Tyler? Since it's been a minute since you've blessed the mic. Blessed or cursed? I would, me. I like challenging people. So I guess if I'm gonna have to narrow it down to something, I would want to narrow it down to. I don't know why this theme keeps popping up, but I think it's an underlying theme that's been happening for a while in the political sphere, in the personal sphere, in jobs. I think in culture in general. Yeah. It's slowly been creeping back up. Mm-hmm. But I think it's been distorted by
a number of different things. But I think when you look back into the Bible itself, it's this idea of fighting the good fight. And for us as I was like Christian men and women, there was always a fight involved. We are always in a spiritual battle. There was always oppression. There is always challenge. There's always going to be something that's going to try to keep us down, whether it's a person, an idea, a hunting, whatever from our past. Fight the good fight. And I just want to encourage that a lot of times that fighting, you're going to come out with nicks and bruises and, heck, a broken arm or a leg, but you were fighting the good fights. Yeah. You weren't fighting just to fight. You weren't fighting to attack. You were just fighting the good fights.
And here's the caveat. Sometimes fighting may mean turning the cheek. And a lot of us struggle with that. But I'm going to leave you with that.
But with that, ladies and gentlemen, the 2022 season has come to a
Merry
close.
Christmas. Happy New Year. Thank you for hanging out with us for the last hour and 30 minutes. Thank you so much.
If you stuck around this long, you are a trooper.
You're a trooper. And I know that, Patrick, you're one of them. I love you, bro. Till next time, the next time you see us, it'll be 2023, going into a new year. I just want to wish everybody a happy new year. Be safe out there. Be responsible out there. That goes without saying, of course. But enjoy your families. Enjoy your friends. And just ring in the new year with a new mindset, new goals, a new vantage point in your life, new perspective. A lot of perspectives definitely are shifting, and I'm reminded of that by just talking to my peers.
Take stock of where you are right now.
Yeah, whatever is
Take a pulse.
Yes.
Know where you are and understand where you are, who you are, right where you're standing.
And if it's not a net positive in your life, and it's a net negative, then let go of that stuff. Let go of the ish. Zero tolerance of that. Net positive. Everything in your life should be a net positive. All right, guys? We love you. We can't wait to see you next year.
Love you guys.
Peace out.